Maine is an interesting place, from its people to its rich history, from its mountains to its shores, from its many inland parks and recreation sites to its coastal region, forts, lighthouses, and beaches. Maine crafts and hobbies are as many in Maine as there are Mainers. The people of Maine are unique, hardworking, and diverse, and their occupations are as such. Come, spend a few minutes with me where we take a look at and visit a little of what Maine is all about and what Maine has to offer. Let's explore Maine.
Hello, I'm Mr. Drew, owner of Mr. Drew and his Animals Too, and owner of Mr. Drew's Exotic Rescue and Education Center in Lewiston, Maine. We take in animals that the Humane Society won't. So we take in things that are creepy, crawly, and scary. Our job is to educate the public why they're not bad animals, why they're actually decent animals, and help you understand that they serve a purpose and they deserve respect. With respect, if we respect an animal, we respect their environment. If we respect their environment, we respect ourselves ultimately. We're respecting our environment. And that's what I want to try to teach to children and people, is that these animals, as misunderstood as they are actually decent animals. So we take in, again, what the Humane Society doesn't, for another reason, is we don't want them to be released into the wild. Maine woods belong to Maine animals. They don't belong to these guys. I deal with exotics from all over the world. So we have lizards, snakes, turtles, spiders, all kinds of different creatures here at our center. People are welcome to come in and actually hold and touch stuff. We have a tortoise pen you can go into. You'll see that you can go in and feed the tortoises and they'll come right to you. So we have a lot of interesting stuff. We also opened up a geology department upstairs. We'll take you later on, where we have a cave the kids can explore, find fossils and crystals they can keep, a rock room, and a library. So if you're thinking of getting a pet, maybe you can do some research ahead of time. So we're trying to provide everything we can and build a children's museum of natural science for Lewiston community, Lewiston, Auburn area. And I say children's museum, but really I find it more a family museum. I find adults come in here and they're just as interested as the kids are. Touching, learning, feeling, and so that's our thing. See, touch, and learn, and you can be at any age to do that. You don't have to be a kid. So we're going to take you on through the place and show you around a little bit. All right, so I'm going to start off in our community room here. We have one tank, which sometimes looks very empty. It looks like there's actually nothing in here, but we have one of the coolest animals in here. It is called the Florida softshell turtle, and I always tell kids and adults that if Dr. Seuss had a character come to life, this is it right here. This thing looks like it jumped out of a Dr. Seuss book. And so I want to get in here and dig her out. Her name happens to be Myrtle. That's the name she came with. And it's Myrtle the Turtle. And there she is. Now, Myrtle, here we go, is illegal in Maine. And she actually has a very rubbery, pliable shell. And that's why she burrows under the sand, is to protect herself so she doesn't get hurt. Where most turtle shells are hard, hers is exactly like rubber. So she's a totally aquatic species, and we can tell that by just looking at those fins right there. They're very much webbed and meant for swimming. She has that snorkel nose once she turns around. Hey, come here. There you are. She has that very long snorkel nose, and that's just to get air. She actually breathes mostly through her skin and stuff. And maybe we can see her bury herself again. She's probably gonna go right back to her spot. That's her bedroom right there. That long neck allows her to, look at that neck. That allows her to just stick her nose up, get some air, go back under, call it good. And there she goes. They're an amazing animal. So she'll stay right under the soil. She can actually smell through the sand. She can do all kinds of cool stuff. And that's what's so cool. Kids will watch her disappear. And she'll actually do this little butt wiggle after to kind of make sure the sand covers everything. Or maybe not, I don't know. You're not done yet, you know. There she is. So these guys are amazing. Now they're also North America's second largest freshwater turtle. Florida softshells can get up to 80 pounds and they're incredibly fast and they bite more than a snapping turtle does. These guys are really nippy. So when I take her out for presentations, not too often, but when I do, boy, she's always trying to bite me. So that's a Florida softshell right there. Whoop, there she goes. And in our community room, we also have this community tank of turtles. People don't realize many turtles, pretty much most turtles, are illegal to own in Maine. And you'll see in the other room we have a prohibited species. One of 4 animals that are prohibited in Maine is a turtle. So we get a lot of turtles in. There's quite a few here. We get them in, we take care of them, we'll relocate them out of state if they're illegal. And people get turtles, I think, mainly because of the fact that it's a turtle. How hard can it be? And they don't realize turtles are actually a lot of work. Between maintenance and care, smell, just the proper feeding and diet, a lot of them come to me very, very sick. And by the time we get it, we can't reverse what's going on. We might be able to get them healthy again, but there might be damage to their shells, and we can show you a few of those. All kinds of things happen with turtles because they're not an easy animal. And the other thing is people get them because, you know, they're benign. People love turtles. They're cute, right? I mean, children's stories and all that stuff. And I find with turtles, people aren't expecting a lot of things, and one of them is the longevity. People don't realize, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 plus years is a long time. Most people think about having a dog for 14 years and say, wow, we had him a long time. You know, that is a long time, but 35, 40 years, that's even longer. So a lot of people don't think of that long-term commitment. And I get a lot of phone calls from parents coming in saying, my kid's off to college and we're stuck with this turtle. We don't know what to do, we don't want it, and so we end up with it. We work with the state of Maine, so I end up taking in a lot of these turtles, again, to relocate out so people don't release them. For whatever reason, turtles are the most dominant animal that people want to release to the wild. So we try to work with the state to prevent that from happening. We have 7 species of turtles in Maine. 4 of them are endangered. You know, and we don't need the outside competition. So if you have a turtle, please don't release it. Let me know, we can help you out, all right? And if you've got questions, by all means, that's what I'm here for, is to help people and answer your questions. So this guy right here is actually one of the prohibited species. He's called a red-eared slider. It's a little male right there. And we end up with about probably 70 to 80 of them a year that we take in and relocate out of state. So we do all kinds of, you know, things for the state to save taxpayer money and stuff. We do it on our dime, just because I care about the Maine environment just as much as I care about these guys. So that's what we do. This is one of our more popular features at our center, is the walk-in Tortoise Pen, where people can come in and we give them greens and vegetables and fruit to feed the tortoises. These guys just love it, and they will come right out towards people to be fed. They don't bite. They can bite, mind you, but they don't. These guys usually are more interested in what you've got in your hand. And they're eating something now. Let me see what Minnie's trying to get. Oh, a piece of corn. Oh, they were eating corn on the cob. So we have 4 species of turtles in here. Tortoises, I'm sorry. These are tortoises, not turtles. You guys want some or what? Nope, you guys want greens, don't you? Well, we'll put that down there, we'll put that there. So, these guys are tortoises. The difference between a tortoise and a turtle is tortoises are land animals, turtles are aquatic. So in here we have that red-eared slider that's a prohibited species. This is Janus, and you can see these were commonly kept as pet turtles, and you used to be able to buy them at Woolworth and Grant's and all those stores, and they were this big, and this is what they grow into. A lot of people said they didn't live long. She's actually almost 30 years old. So they are quite a long-lived animal. Now, this here also will not live very well in one of those trays back there, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But this is actually, hold on one second while I get this right here. Many people had these, and this is what we used to raise turtles in 30 years ago. This was very commonly kept. The turtle would sit there, you had the little palm tree, and that's what that turtle is right there. We'd get these little turtles, probably keep 2 of them in there, and it was never appropriate, but that was the common belief, and that's why they didn't live long. This wasn't the proper housing for them. They need special lighting, heating, all that stuff. So a lot of people kept them that way improperly. And we've learned so much in 30, 40 years. Now these guys here are tortoises. They're strictly land animals. We have 4 species in here. We have the Sulcata Tortoise, which is the 3rd largest species in the world. Full grown, they're going to weigh over 200 pounds and live 150 years. These things get enormous. They're illegal in Maine because the state of Maine looks at it and says, what are you going to do with an animal that lives longer than you? These guys, 150 years, that's crazy. He's 24 years old, which means he has another 125 years to live or more. And he's only about 50 pounds, so he has another 150 pounds to grow. That's crazy. In an average household, that's not practical. And the other thing is, these guys require a lot of heat. My center runs 75 to 85 year round. But these guys are amazing animals, and they do learn their names and stuff. So they're the 3rd largest. This one here is a Leopard Tortoise, and she is only about 6 years old. She'll live another 100 years or less, 80 years probably. And this is the 4th largest tortoise in the world. These guys get to about 100 pounds. They also are from Africa, so they require a lot of room as well. This is Willie. And Willie's our 5th largest tortoise in the world, and this is full grown. He doesn't get any bigger than this, so we go from 100 pounds down to this. So that's how the tortoise world works. Not everything's the same. Willie's a red-footed tortoise from South America. And what makes a tortoise and a turtle totally different animals is this right here, their feet. Tortoises have padded feet meant for walking, and they can only go forward and backwards. They can't move their feet in a circular motion which allows them to swim. So these guys can't swim, turtles can. Tortoises are land animals, turtles are water animals. Their feet are padded, and turtles have claws that can grab. These guys can't. So if you put them in water, they can't pull themselves out. So we have a bunch of redfoot tortoises, and these are very common as pets in Maine. They are legal. Excuse me, buddy. These guys are legal, but a lot of people get them and again don't realize their longevity and their care. Then we got this little guy right down here who's hiding. This guy here, a lot of kids come in here and think it's a baby. This is a Russian tortoise, and this is full grown. If you're gonna get a pet tortoise, this is the one to get. They still can live 30, 40 years, but this is their full size. They're not a big tortoise, so they don't accommodate, they don't need all that space. They can live much happier in a smaller environment, and they're also very cold tolerant. So if most homes are cool, these guys can tolerate it better than some of these other tropical species. So tortoises can't swim, turtles can. These are all tortoises, and you're more than welcome to come right in, sit down and feed them. They love the greens, they love bananas, things like that. We even have some people come in on their lunch break on a stressful day just to relax and unstress at lunchtime. So, just an amazing animals, pretty cool to sit amongst them. And if you didn't know this, a little bit of trivia here, a group of tortoises is called a creep. C-R-E-E-P, a creep. And that's what this is. This is a creep. Come here, buddy. All right. All right, this guy right here. This is a Tegu. This is Max. Max has been with us since last fall. He came to us, he had a severe mouth infection, maggots in his mouth, but he's doing fine. He wants to get down. He is such a big bug, right? These guys, Tegus, are amazing lizards. They have incredible skin. And these guys feel like a beaded leather a purse or a wallet. Just an amazing animal. Now, they're the smartest lizards in the world. And these guys here, look at that tongue. That tongue is amazing. These guys here actually use that tongue to smell. So they can smell an animal nest in a tree or underground. They can smell underwater and stuff. And these guys here are just amazing. They only think of food, but they do love attention. This one here is like, just put me down. But I want to get another guy up. Now he is actually the youngest one. This is our oldest one here. This is Uget. He's blind with cataracts. But again, they come in different sizes just like people do. They're very smart animals, and they usually love to cuddle and pay attention. They'll come when you call them. But they're not the pet for everybody. These guys here can eat as much as $50 meat a week. They're very expensive to feed and take care of. So not a good pet. We have 5 of them right now. You know, they're not a good pet for everybody. These guys here, just a lot of maintenance, and that's why we get them in. People don't realize how much space they need and stuff like that, and how much the attention they need. If they don't get it, they become a little temperamental, and they can be aggressive. So Tegus are amazing, but not for everybody. All right, so here we have an eastern box turtle. His name is Beakster, and he's about 45 years old. He's actually Maine's rarest reptile. This is a native to Maine, and these guys are actually on the verge of extinction in Maine. We're at their northern range. The species lives in all mid-southern U.S., and it's found all the way down to, you know, almost to Florida, not quite. So the eastern box turtle, an amazing animal, but in Maine again, they're rare. And they're endangered because habitat destruction. They're found in York and little bits of Cumberland County, and that's their northern range. And what part of the state is developing the most with the largest population? York and Cumberland. These tortoises have no chance of surviving in Maine. Maybe in another 10, 20 years, they'll be completely gone. They'll be completely extinct. So these guys are protected by the state. We are very fortunate to have him, and he can live to 100 years old. So you look at, he's about 45, 46. He'll live to about 100 years of age. Fantastic. The lady who had him took good care of him. He was actually a rescue from a car injury many years ago, and there were no laws and regulations back then on them, but now there is. And she went into a nursing home, and we ended up getting a call from the state to take him in, and here he is. So we use him a lot in education to explain to children about conservation and the Maine environment and the ecosystem, how it works, and why we can't breed these guys for release. They're just an amazing animal. Now the males have these red eyes. The red eyes, the females have brown eyes, so that's how we know what sex it is. And he's called a box turtle because he's not scared, but when they are scared, they can put their head completely in their shell, and they can seal their shell up like a box. The bottom here, right here and here, is hinged, so it closes up. So when he ducks in his shell real quick, you'll hear, and all the air comes out, and he's completely protected in his box. Not all turtles can protect themselves like the box turtles, so it's pretty interesting to see, but he's never scared of anything, so he doesn't do it anymore. And that's an eastern box turtle. There. Woohoo! Going up my shirt. All right. This is called the Dumeral's boa. It's also called the Madagascar Ground Boa, and it's one of the strongest snakes in the world. They're not the biggest, they're not mean at all, they're actually very docile, but pound for pound, size for size, these guys are incredibly powerful. And they can actually wrap around your arm and stop the blood flow. These guys, that's how the snakes actually kill their prey, is not by crushing or suffocating, it's stopping the blood from going to the heart. But these guys here are just docile animals. They really don't want to bother us, and a lot of people have fears for snakes that they don't need to worry. We live in Maine. There's 9 species of snakes. Not one is dangerous to anyone in Maine. So we don't have to worry when we see a snake outside. And snakes are actually very beneficial. The eastern milk snake can eat about 400,000 ticks in one season. So they're an amazing animal. They're very beneficial. They also keep pests down. They reduce disease. Snakes also, here in the United States, help prevent house fires. So they're a very beneficial animal. They prevent house fires by eating the rodents that are chewing on wires. And they've done correlation studies to find that snakes are actually amazing animals, how they do this stuff. So, again, not an animal that you need to be fearful of. Very few people actually die from snakes. More people get killed by the family dog in the United States than snakes worldwide. So they're a very, very gentle animal. This one here specifically lives on the ground all the time. Its coloration blends in with the dead leaves. That way its prey might not even know it's there. And Madagascar, they're gonna feed on things like small lemurs and stuff. They're gonna eat other small prey or bigger prey, depending on the size of the animal. They can eat something 3 times bigger than the thickest part of their body. So these are things that we take out at our center that kids hold if they want that experience, or adults. We also have smaller snakes, but all decent animals. Very used to being handled, very gentle, and just amazing. Given a chance, and a lot of people think they're slimy, and they're not. They're incredibly smooth, very, very soft, actually almost therapeutic. You want to go back in your cage? This is another animal that people are the #1 fear in the world. Simply that. More people are scared of this animal than any other animal, and we don't need to be. Again, we live in Maine. We have no dangerous species that live in Maine year-round. This one here is called a Chilean rose-hair tarantula, and these guys have a reputation from movies that make them out to be these villains that they're not. They're gentle giants. They don't want to bite anything unless they're going to eat it. They don't even want to, unless I'm hurting her, it has no interest in biting me whatsoever. These guys here just want to go about their business eating bugs. Now, a lot of things people don't realize is with tarantulas, you know, they see them in movies and people step on them and they're dropping from the ceilings and they're running up people's legs. None of that is real. These guys here, if they were to drop from a great height, even from this height to the floor, that's enough to kill her. She's like an eggshell. She'll break open and die. The other thing is, they're very sensitive. These guys here smell with their feet. They're a ground spider. So if you held out your hand, she would touch you with one foot and pull it away. She wouldn't go right on you because she doesn't know who you are. She has no interest. All they want to do is eat bugs. Now, they figured that 84% of animal life on this planet is insects. And if it wasn't for spiders, insects would take over. They would start eating all our food and spreading disease, probably wiping out the human race. So spiders are essential to us. We need them. They're there to help us. They're a cheap form of insect control and beneficial. So if you see a spider, you don't have to like it, you don't have to touch it, but you don't have to kill it. These guys here just want to eat bugs and be left alone. They're never going to jump off their web at you. They're not going to run after you. They're not going to drop all over you. They don't do that. That's stuff of movies. These guys here are just amazing. I love spiders. A lot of people just don't care for them, and that's fine, like I said, but you don't have to kill them either. Let them do their job. Let them help us. Much better than spraying chemicals all over your body. These guys are just beautiful. Once you start looking at them, the details and stuff like that, simply an amazing animal. Needs to be respected and appreciated a lot more. Excuse me. No, take your time. No, go ahead. Thank you. All right. So these guys are one of my favorites.
Right now back here, it's 76 degrees back here.
One of these guys are my favorite insect. Out of all the insects that we raise all kinds. The walking sticks. I love stick bugs. They're just an amazing animal. Now this is a Vietnamese walking stick, and it's not full grown yet. We're just starting a new cycle of them. They'll get about twice as big as this, and they're an invasive species. So these guys here are a problem for most agricultural states in the U.S. If they are released into the wild, you only need one. They can self-reproduce. They lay their own eggs, so they don't need a mate. So one getting out can be a problem. So we have to account for every single one. Now, walking sticks love to hide in plain sight. These guys here, we have them here in Maine, the American walking stick or the northern walking stick, and you could walk right by them, never know they're there. When they're on a tree branch, they just disappear. They hide, and they stay perfectly still all day. A bird lands right next to them, never know they're there. These guys here are just masters of camouflage. I just love these guys. And boy, you can barely feel them. They're so gentle and walking on you and stuff like that. But if you touch their back, they feel just like a stick. So it's amazing. They look, they feel, they act just like a twig. And they're just an amazing insect. Now, these guys only eat plants, so we don't have to worry about them. They're easy to feed, romaine lettuce. But again, without proper permits, the state of Maine won't allow you to have these. Big problem, they're concerned about apple orchard and the farms and stuff being infested with these things. So we have to be very careful with these. We have them for education, and they also act as a food source for some of our animals. So just an amazing insect, very, very interesting. Another insect right behind me. Whoops. Go there. They're sticky, no pun intended. Another insect right behind me here is one that a lot of people don't care for. It automatically has a bad reputation. And these guys here are just amazing too. These, I want to see that. These are cockroaches. Different species. We actually have 3 species in here. We have the Madagascar hissing cockroach, which is this one. We have the giant cave cockroach, which is extinct in the wild. Yes, cockroaches can be wiped out. And we have, there we go, the fast ones. The fast ones are the death head cockroaches. Now, woohoo!
Look at that.
These guys here are amazing animals. Again, we always think negative when we hear the word cockroach. We're thinking of the American or the German cockroaches. And the American and German cockroaches are a problem around here. But most cockroaches are actually very beneficial in the world. There are 30,000, just making sure my cockroaches don't get out. There we go. There are 30,000 species of cockroaches in the world, and only 30 species are dangerous or considered harmful to humans. These guys here are the Madagascar hissers. They're actually very vital to the island of Madagascar. These guys produce compost, plant trees, they clean up all the leaves and rotting material, and they're a valuable food source to the other animals on the island. These guys also take on the flavor of the foods they eat. These guys, if you feed them apples, will taste like apples. If you feed them oranges, they'll taste like oranges, etc. You know, bananas, bananas. And that's pretty cool because these guys here, it's like eating Skittles. You never know what you're going to get, which is awesome. And that's why the lemurs and stuff on the island of Madagascar love eating these guys. Now, the thing is, they hiss. They will hiss when they're scared because why? That's their way of protecting themselves. If a lemur's sitting there looking for these guys and hear, well, that previous snake I showed you is actually a snake that eats lemurs. So the lemurs hear that hiss, don't know where it's coming from. The lemur's going to sound the alarm and jump back into the trees. And really, it might be these guys. Now, these guys don't hiss anymore. They're not scared. We handle them all the time. Kids pick them up, and we use them a lot in schools and stuff like that. And I also do educational talks on entomophagy, eating insects. Everybody around the world eats insects. It's a whole thing that's coming more common here in America. And these guys were often used in food challenges like on Survivor and Fear Factor. Because why? They're edible. They take on those flavors. And you can just simply take them and just put them out and eat them. So these guys here are completely clean. And they live about 7 years. So they actually make pretty good pets. Easy to take care of. Easy to maintain, low maintenance. You get that rotting fruit that you're about to throw out, they'll eat it. They clean it right up. So an amazing animal. Not all cockroaches are bad. These guys here are one of the good ones. I love these guys. In you go, bud. Now these animals over here, since we're over here, one of my favorites also, I guess are all my favorites. We have these creatures right here. I can't take them out because they're completely aquatic, and that's the axolotls. These guys are an amazing animal. They're extinct in the wild. There's actually none of these left in the wild. They haven't been finding them for a few years. They come from Mexico, and in Mexico, they tell you don't drink the water. Well, that's what happened to these guys. The water is so polluted, they died. They're completely aquatic. And they have these feathery gills. I'm going to see if I can flush them out a little bit. There, move some of the plants. There we go. There's a leucistic, and that's the natural color of one. These guys are a type of salamander. And these salamanders have a unique ability that scientists are studying. They're extinct in the wild, but they're plentiful in captivity. And the reason is they can regenerate everything. These guys here, if their eyes are removed, will grow new eyeballs. If you remove their spine, they'll grow a new spine. And not only will they grow a new spine, they'll actually rebuild a nervous system. You can remove part of their brain, they'll regenerate the brain. You can remove an organ and give it to another axolotl, and there's no rejection. The body will not reject it. If you take a limb off of one and graft it to another, same thing. There's no rejection rate. So these animals are amazing, and scientists are studying them, and that's why they're extinct in the wild, but they're not extinct in captivity. There's plentiful there. There's actually like literally billions of these things in captivity, and if we can ever restore their native habitat, and eliminate the pollution, we could reintroduce the wild population very easily. Now, scientists and doctors have been researching these guys for years, because imagine you get in a car accident, you suffer a traumatic brain injury, you're paralyzed, lose a limb, and rupture a spleen. And all that can be tended to within a year or two. Everything on you heals up by itself, regenerates, and they're the only vertebrate animal in the world that can do that. Certain lizards, like iguanas, they can regenerate a tail, but that's it. Starfish, other animals can regenerate their whole body, but no other animal with a backbone can do that other than the axolotls. So they're an amazing thing that we're researching to help benefit humans. And they're illegal in Maine to own as well, but they're just fascinating to see. And we got them here. We have 5 of them. And you can come check them out and stuff like that and see what they're like. All right, let's do... This here is an alligator snapping turtle, and we have common snapping turtles here, which are native to Maine, and this guy's from the southern United States. He's not very big. He's actually about 3 years old. They're slow growing, but these guys can live 200 years, and these are North America's largest turtle. Full grown, it'll weigh up to 250 pounds. I don't know, we have a picture here. This one is 238 pounds. So it was captured for study and released. It wasn't harmed. These are herpetologists who are studying this one. So this one here is 238 pounds. It's a big animal. And we got one here. Fortunately, it's slow growing, so we can keep it in a small cage, but eventually we're going to have to build something huge. Now, these guys are different than their Maine counterparts. The alligator snapping turtle is a predator that sits and waits for its food to come to him. He sits there with his mouth wide open, and I've got somebody who wants to get out. He sits with his mouth wide open, and in his mouth he has a very bright pink tongue that looks like a worm, and he twitches it with his mouth open, and fish will swim right up to him, and as they go for that bait, that worm, he snaps them. Now, the Maine snapping turtles are a little different. We're going to show you him in a moment, one of those in a moment. The Maine snapping turtles are nomadic hunters. They travel everywhere looking for their food, and they will hunt things down to find them. So, these guys here sit and wait. Now, even at 200 pounds, these guys here just will sit all day long. They'll sit, they'll wait, and the bigger they are, the bigger the fish come in, because that worm gets bigger. So they lure in all that all day long. Now, this guy here is pretty chill. He's pretty good, but most of the time, let's see if we can get him to open his mouth. Show you how wide it gets, but no, he's not opening. So he opens his mouth, it opens pretty wide, and these guys can do a lot of damage. I don't know how much of that you can see, but that's a very sharp point right there. And if these guys grab you, it's not going to be a good thing. These guys don't let go. They grab a hold and it's tight locked. So you want to be careful when you're handling these guys. Again, these are illegal in Maine. You can't have them. What are you going to do with an animal 200 years and 250 pounds? The logic there. The other thing is, these guys here live just such a long time, but they just amazing animals, amazing animals. All right, this guy here is a green iguana, and these guys were commonly kept as pets, another animal that's illegal in Maine. And the reason why these guys are illegal, thank you, these guys are illegal because they're incredibly aggressive animals. They need a lot of maintenance. He's actually sitting very calm right now, which I appreciate, because their claws, if you look at their nails, they're like razor blades. These things will slice you open. And they're very aggressive animals. These guys get up to 6 feet long. And a lot of people bought these because why? They ate plants. A lot of mothers wanted an animal, their kids wanted a pet, and the moms didn't want to buy mice or rats or insects. This was the perfect answer. They eat plants. Well, a lot of them died from improper nutrition because people were feeding them only romaine lettuce, and that itself is no nutritional value. Then a lot of people were also keeping them in too small of a cage. These guys get up to 6 feet long, and that was because pet stores were telling them they only get as big as the cage you keep them in, which is not true. They can actually get large, take a human baby, put it in a box, give it food, give it water. It's going to become an adult. It's still going to grow. So this guy here is actually doing very well. We've been working with him for almost a year now, and he's gotten good so we can take him out. But sometimes I get a lot of scratches and cuts from him. Not intentional, just he's very sharp. He's also shedding. That's what this skin here is coming off him. And that's part of growth for these guys. So he will get much larger. Now, we mentioned with the axolotls regeneration, his tail actually was broken off right here. It should be about this long. It is growing back now. This is what I have to watch out for when I'm holding him, and that's why I keep watching him, is the spikes up here are very soft. But when we get down here, it's like a saw blade or a steak knife. And this guy can slice you open where you have to get stitches. So the tail, the claws, and the teeth are all a weapon. There was a lady who had one in Connecticut. She had it for years. She had an adult male, 6 feet long. She had to have 3,600 stitches to rebuild her face because these claws just kept shredding her face like coleslaw. It was terrible. And they showed the constructive surgery had to rebuild how many years it took. But yeah, Maine decided for people's safety, best thing to do is not have these available as pets. It's very misleading. And the other thing is when people got scared of them, they released them into the wild and they can't survive in Maine winters. So the state did a good choice on this, in my opinion, by making these illegal. So, amazing animal. Oh, look at that. He's falling asleep. That's good. So we're going to put him back. And work my step. There you go, buddy. In you go. Got it. Good job. All right. All right.
Lindsay, this way. We're going to start heading out with this. Can you grab the blanket? You guys have any more questions, or are you all set?
All right. So, this is a hognose snake. It's a commonly kept pet snake in the industry. They don't get too big, and they're an amazing animal. So I'm going to watch this guy because he probably smells the turtles on me, and that could be a food source. They like to eat frogs and stuff, and I did handle a frog over there. These guys here are also one of the few venomous snakes you can actually keep. This is actually a venomous snake, and see, automatically we hear the name venomous, and we think dangerous, it's going to kill you, and that's not true. These guys here very rarely bite. Can they bite? Yes. Do they bite? Not really, because we're not a food source. Now this one is smelling me because it can smell that I handle some food, so I'm watching them. But even if it were to bite me, its venom isn't that strong. Also, its venom is in the rear fangs. Most snakes have fangs in the front. These guys have fangs in the back, which means they have to bite their food and start chewing on it, and those fangs will do their damage. So if he just tags me, it's not going to be an issue. And even if he did start chewing on me, that's not an issue either, because these guys here, again, their venom isn't that strong. So you can actually keep venomous snakes with no issues and problems depending on the species. This one is legal in Maine. Most venomous snakes are not. And in the United States, only one person dies a year from venomous snake bites, and that's usually because the person had been drinking alcohol. So it's usually related to poor inhibition and choices. Other than that, most venomous snakes will leave you alone. In Maine, we don't have any venomous snakes to worry about. We used to have a timber rattler here in the state, but they were hunted to extinction because the mentality was the only good rattlesnake is a dead one. Well, we've come a long ways and found that rattlesnakes are actually very beneficial, and they rarely bother people. That's why they have a tail, is to warn you, to let you know they're there. And if you don't listen to any animal's warning, that's your fault. So these guys here are venomous, but very chill, very cute little snakes with their little turned up nose. And that nose is there for a purpose. It's to help them burrow. They're called a fossorial snake, which means they like to burrow underground, under leaf litter and stuff like that, looking for worms and frogs. That's their diet. Worms and frogs. As a matter of fact, in captivity, we almost have to train them to eat mice because they're just not used to that in the wild. This is a western hognose. The eastern hognose is rare and endangered, but the western is quite common. Whoops, this cage. There. Yeah. Okay, I'm all set. This here is Maine's most misunderstood animal. This is a common snapping turtle. These guys here, people fear, but they don't need to. Now this one here is Wilbert. We've had him since he was a baby. He was frozen to the ground when we found him, and he doesn't bite. He will bite if you put your hand in his tank, but outside of his tank he doesn't. And the reason being is he's not scared. These guys are not scared. They're not going to bite. In the wild, they're scared. We're big, we're predators to them. They're going to be defensive. And the reason why they're scared is because unlike most other turtles, these guys can't hide in their shells. They don't have a full shell, and therefore they can't just duck in there and protect themselves like other turtles can. So the only thing they've got going for them is their bite. And if you don't know the difference between turtles in Maine, the way to tell a snapping turtle is this right here. This nice long tail. Maine's snapping turtles have the longest tails. Kind of looks like a dinosaur's tail. That's your indicator. All turtles will snap you, but this guy here is very powerful. It's not going to let go. Now, he wants to get down and run around, and we usually let him do sometimes walk around the place and have some fun exploring. Now, he doesn't bite because he's not scared. If you're swimming in a lake or a pond, a snapping turtle will never bite you while you're swimming. They stay away from you because, again, they're scared. You're in there having fun, splashing around. They might be curious and check you out, but they're not going to bite you. They have this incredibly long neck, and that's why you don't want to pick them up. If we look at that neck, if you pick them up this way, they can reach to their back legs. And also, they got these incredibly sharp claws that dig right into you. Look at those claws right there. They're just incredibly strong, and they will cut you open if you have sensitive skin. The other reason you don't want to pick them up with that, because that long neck, if you grab them this way, they can throw their head back and bite you. And we don't want to pick up any animal by the tail. Their tail is not a handle. I'm going to hold his shell, but if you pick them up by the tail, that long neck could grab your leg. You don't want that. But this guy here, he's pretty chill. Oh, he's like, put me back. And these guys here also have a long neck for one more thing. I'm going to put him on the floor, so I want to show you something. If he gets flipped over, he's in a lot of trouble, right? He's got no shell to protect him. So if an animal takes him and flips him over, he can flip himself right back every time. So he can sit there, flip himself back, and say, you do that to me again, I'm going to bite you. And so he will protect himself. Now, these guys can run, they can jump, they can spin on a dime, and they can climb trees and fences. So you want to be careful handling a snapping turtle. If one is in the road and you want to move it, give them a branch to bite and drag them off the road in the direction they were going. If it's a female going to lay eggs and you put her back in the water, she's going to cross the road again and get hit. So any turtle you see, always move them in the direction they're traveling. Right, buddy? If you are considering getting a pet, this is the one to get. This is a bearded dragon. These guys come from Australia, but they're all captive bred now. We don't have any wild-caught specimens in the U.S. These guys are just amazing. This is full grown. They don't get much bigger. They're easy to feed. They don't require a lot that other animals require, and their temperament is beautiful. These guys here, we can literally take them, stick them right to you, clean your house. They'll just hang right out with you. These guys are simply just an amazing animal and a good choice for a family pet. And they have wonderful personalities. Each one of them is different, so these guys here are just simply cool pets. Now, when they're scared, what they're going to do is they're going to puff out this beard and it gets black. And when they do that, they're trying to intimidate their prey, their predator. They're trying to make them think that I'm bigger, I'm badder, don't mess with me. And so they'll puff up their body, they'll show off everything. They got these black spots which act like big black fake eyes that lift up, and they just try to intimidate the heck out of them. And if that doesn't work, they run away real quick. And they squish themselves under something flat. And if we look at those spikes on their body, an animal comes up sniffing behind them, going, where'd he go? Gets stabbed in the nose, backs off, doesn't want to eat that. Those are not appealing to eat, not on your tongue, not on your nose. So these guys tend to hide a lot if they feel threatened. But in captivity, we never see that behavior because they're just so used to people. So these guys will just hang with you all day long. Good pet choice for if you want to get a lizard. Right? What are you doing? Oh, sorry, were you drinking? You're okay. There we go. Now this guy here is a Chinese water dragon. He looks very similar to the iguana, but he's found in Southeast Asia as opposed to South America like the green iguanas. And this guy here, he's actually missing the front part of his face. It actually is just bone right there in front. He was kept in proper enclosure. The people had it down low. These guys love to be up high. And also, they had a lot of plants around. So the lizard was trying to get to the foliage because that's where they live, in the jungles and the treetops and stuff like that. So he was constantly rubbing his face on the glass, and he wore away the skin down to the bone. And this will not grow back. That's permanent. So imagine just taking your face and rubbing on a wall until your nose, your lips, and your chin were gone, and nothing but your jawbone was exposed. That's what we got going on here. So fortunately, he's in good health, but he just wasn't cared for properly, and that's the big thing we're trying to do, is help people understand why and how to care for their animals. Because pet stores are there to sell you, not tell you. They often don't know themselves, and if you're going to get something exotic, it's important you understand everything about them so that we can prevent things like this. The next guy, I want to show you the same thing. He actually is burned. Here you go, bud. In you go. The next guy was actually burned because he was kept in improper conditions. He was kept with a device called a heat stone, and I gotta watch him because he's quick. Come here, you. Yeah. Come over here. There we go. All right. No. He is a Savannah monitor. And if we look at his back, this is all scar tissue. This is all damage from that heat stone. The house he was kept in was too cold, and he hid underneath it. So that's what happened to him. That heat stone just burned his flesh. Fortunately, his skin is like leather, and he doesn't, he'll heal up over time, but he'll always have scars. So this guy here, an amazing animal, uses his tongue to smell much like the Tegu, but incredibly powerful bite. And these guys here are related to the Komodo dragon. So they're a monitor species. The Savannah monitor grows. This guy can get to about 5 feet long, 3 to 5 feet. And he is so different than his counterpart. His buddy over there, or not buddies at all, but that Savannah monitor was found in a snowbank in Lewiston. He is so chilled and laid back. You can handle him. Kids can hold him. This guy is as wild as can be. So it's almost like fire and ice. You know, one's really hot and ready to go, and the other one's very chill and mad. So even with these guys, there's different personalities we find in them. So he's healing up nicely since we got him. It was open wounds, but now he's doing pretty good. But he's very feisty. As you saw, I don't know if you saw him trying to get me, but and even now, given the opportunity, he'll latch right on. And we don't want that, right, buddy? All right, in you go. So we're upstairs at the Education Center, and again, we wanted to create a children's museum or a family museum of natural science. And the 150 animals that we have downstairs were all in my house, and everything upstairs was in my house. And up here we have a lot of geology, marine stuff, natural history stuff of skulls. All those skulls out in the display case I prepared. We built a cave so the kids can actually find fossils, crystals, minerals, and we allow them to take home 3 or 4 of them where they can use them to start their own little geology rock collection. And the reason being is if I can get them interested indoors, we can get them interested outdoors. You know, again, it gets back, tying them back to nature and responsibility and respect. If we can get them to respect the earth, they're the future. They're going to make a difference. So getting them interested in finding things, whether it's a fossil from past life or a crystal that's used in modern day technology, whatever it is, it comes from the earth. And that's what I want to share with them, is that they're the resources that we need to make things better. We have the reference library here, which is there for some parents coming just to sit down and read to their kids. And we're going to be opening up our rock area. We're going to have a rock cutting machine to cut stones and polish stones for people, as well as a kiln that we're going to do activities with the kids up here. We really want to make it a very fun institution to come to. This is the only place in Lewiston, I tell people, that you can hold prehistoric dinosaur poop in one hand and a meteorite from outer space in the other hand at the same time. time. That doesn't happen anywhere else. This is a facility that is a hands-on. You know, parents will come in and say, oh, don't touch that. Oh, no, touch it. Because that's the best way to learn. Let them hold it, let them explore, let them feel it, let them look at it. Touch it. That's why it's here. It's no good if I put it behind glass and you can just look at it. It's better if they can hold it. That's what's going to drive their passions. We have microscopes in the other room, and we have a digital microscope, and we have scales, and we have scratch tests, and we have all kinds of things just to get basic geology. We have a beautiful display case that shows all the shiny, pretty gems. And like I said, lots of fossils and stuff, which makes it very interesting. When kids are holding something from prehistoric times, kids love dinosaurs. And to see an actual dinosaur footprint is an amazing thing for a child. And so we just want this to grow. We want this to expand. We want them to just have fun. The cave, I have adults that come in and say, can I take off my shoes and go in? Go right in. That's what I want. It's just as relaxing for an adult to go in there and sift around for stuff and just feel the sand and pull up a fossil and say, hey, Mr. Drew, what's this? Oh, hey, that's a trilobite fossil, you know, or that's a fossilized shark tooth, or that's an amethyst crystal. And it's the curiosity there for all ages, 2 to 102, and that's what I want to do is inspire that curiosity. And eventually that's going to be the name of our facility, will be Little Curiosities Children's Museum of Natural Science, because Little Curiosities is something that, to me, children, hey, what is this? Or I'm curious, and to me that's the big thing. So this upper room has been amazing. We've only opened it a few weeks ago, April school vacation, and we've had over 1,000 people up here in the few weeks to check it out, and all positive feedback. So we let you take home some crystals. We have some seashells that you can take home. Come on in, take a visit. Enjoy, take off your shoes and play in the sand. I'm okay with that. So I hope you enjoyed seeing my facility, and hopefully you'll come on down one day and say hi.